Hi everyone, I'm back. It's your girl Ijoma on another episode of IJ Reads, and we are going to be reading from Afabwaje Kurian Before the Mango Ripens. It's published by the Zank Books in 2024. I'm going to post a link where you can buy this book, but this particular chapter is very, very, very long. I'm just going to try and shorten it in such a way that we're going to be excited to get a copy of this book. And I'm reading from chapter 9 of this book. So, the night was warm and the mosquitoes unobstructive, their presence announced only when they pricked the bare legs and arms of a patron at Shigudu's. Around Zanya, customers buried their heads in steaming bowls of pepper soup, and he caught a glimpse of their faces when they needed to wash down the ganda or cool their tongues with a swig of beer. Zanya and his laborers did not eat, though they occupied two of the seven tables and congregated under the light bulbs hung across the bar's tin roof. Go figure. Victor Owaifo's voice came from a radio somewhere above their heads, singing in tune with the twang of his guitar. Da-da-dang. Two women arched their backs as they pounded yam, their chests heaving with each rise of their arms, pounding in tune with the song while Shigedu's son grilled moist flanks of grass cutter, fanning smoke that blew in his direction. Shigedu stopped at their tables to see what the laborers wanted to eat and drink. "With which money?" Betabwe said. Shigedu said, "No money, and all of you are here?" The rumbling of his men's stomachs reached Zanya. He placated Shigedu by ordering beers for the men and a mineral for himself. If you're a Nigerian, you understand what mineral means, okay? They had come to Shigedu's since their first building project, and though the laborers felt the tightness of their pockets now, they came for the atmosphere and the ritualistic aspects. Zaya drank his coke and listened as his laborers argued about the Igbo returnees coming back to reclaim their homes and businesses in Rabata, and attempting to re-enter their roles in universities and the military. It was too early to know how they would reintegrate into Rabata and other cities and towns in Nigeria. The war had bred animosity and distrust. Biafrans made a good attempt at this war. They should be treated with respect when they return, Kago said. War is war, but their efforts should be rewarded. Who said we will not respect them? Betabwe said, as if he were the head of a university determining which person to employ. He's not saying we won't, oh, Sango said in Kago's defense. 3 years was long for those soldiers to fight, for them to have resisted federal troops. Troops will tell you. His friend Choops worked for Glories and Blessings Ladies Provision Store and had yet to be convinced about the Christian practices of the mission. He was the only person most people in Rabata knew who had fought the war, so they called him General. He had come home with a pinned shirt sleeve flapping against his side like a folded pillowcase where his left arm used to be. Shrapnel in Okrika, he said when people asked. Chooks had the somber and dignified expression of a soldier, and one could picture him with a hard helmet and military uniform shouldering an AK-47 or a Kalashnikov, like we like to say it in Nigeria. Chooks was fond of saying he had gone in whole and returned 7/8. He would say he counted himself lucky to have only severed his left limb, and the townspeople would know he was thinking of the misfortune that befell his comrade in the explosion of the bridge connecting Obot Akara and Umahia. I saw the whole thing with my korokoro eyes, Chubes would say. Chubes had told Zanya that the military training he received in Accra had been preparation for peaceful time, not war. As a result, they had not had enough trained men in the federal army to quell the regional rebellion. One of the laborers said, Ojukwu was lying to this country, tricking all of us. He was collecting his weapons for war while people were laughing at him. like the Reverend. Better we said, taking a swig of beer. The men agreed and laughed, and one said, yes, like Reverend. A laborer said, you go compare Reverend Jim with Ojukwu. And this is how you start off a chapter 9. Don't ask me how you start off a chapter 1 or 2, but you need to get a copy of Kurian's book. I intend to interview her to get a sense of her mindset and where her mind was when she was writing this book. Because there's a way you write about Biafra, and I'm not saying this because I'm Igbo, but it's such a sensitive topic to write about. But it was also tastefully, it's almost like it was done in a conversational tone that you didn't get your hopes up, you didn't get your defenses up to defend or not defend what each part did in the war. But this is a book I would love you to read for yourself to understand, and I cannot wait for this conversation to hold and possibly drop on the website. And who knows, I might just get her to be on our Pigeon Reviews podcast one of these days, speaking and discussing her book in Pigeon. But till that happens, this is me signing out, and see you guys next week, Thursday, with another book, another country on the Naija hit. I got you guys there on the IJ Reads segment of the Bagus.